Welcome to the bold analysis, ladies and gentlemen. Raila Odinga is getting a response from William Samoei Ruto, and is in response to one thing, the question of Sava. Remember, for those who are consistent viewers of the bold, I said something last week that Kenya Kwanza will be comfortable to pick a fight with Raila Odinga on other factors except one thing, the cost of living. And my position why Kenya Kwanza will not want to engage with Tinga on the cost of living is because they don't have an answer. Number one, it doesn't have a fix. Number two, the cost there when it comes to food is very emotional and it touches across. It doesn't matter whether you're Azimio or Kenya Kwanza. When you are angry, hakuna food, everyone doesn't have food. So that is why I have been listening, consistently following the narratives that President Ruto have been forming around this matter. And the one thing he has picked is that of the servers. While in Nakuru launching police station, I think a hospital that was launched by the police circle, he said that Kenyans, responding to the calls by Raila to open the servers so that we know the legitimate winner, he said that Kenyans, the servers were opened the moment Kenyans went to vote. Today, he is asking this question as far as the issue of server is concerned. That, is there a law that is saying that servers should be opened?
Hakuna mahali katiba inasema rais ndio mtu ya kufungua masava. Yeye kwa sababu wako na nafasi mingi aende afanye hiyo kazi ya kufungua masava. Awachane, mimi niko na kazi ya kuendesha Kenya, mimi niko na nafasi gani ya kwenda kufungua masava? Na nilimwambia sava ilifunguliwa zamani. Kwani alikuwa wapi? Si kila mtu alienda kwa station ukaweka biometric ukapata jina yako iko pale. Si sava ilikuwa open. Si ukapatiwa ile nini ukapiga kura alafu ikawekwa kwenye mtandao. Si kila mtu alikuwa na kura yake kwa portal. Si hiyo nini ilikuwa wazi. Sasa huyu alikuwa wapi siku hiyo, mambo hiyo yote ilikuwa. Saa hii miezi 6 baadaye anakuja kutusumbua ati fungueni saba. Na mimi nataka niulize nyinyi, kuna mahali gani imeandikwa kwa katiba ati saba itafunguliwa? Mimi nataka niwaambie hawa watu, please let us respect the rule of law. Do not make demands that are unconstitutional, that are extra legal, that are extrajudicial. Sasa hiyo mnasema tufanye iko kwa katiba gani? Ama iko kwa sheria gani? Sisi tutafuata ile kwa sheria. Siku ile itaandikwa kwa sheria ati saba itafunguliwa na mtu fulani, tutafuata. So waende watengeneze sheria ya kufungua masava ndio tujue vile tutaendesha.
Now, if you listen to that question, there is something Ruto is saying there, that where in law iko wapi sheria kwamba ni sheria gani inafuatwa for the server to be opened. And I just want to ask you a question honestly, and this is a survey question. I'm going to look at the comment section. Do you believe that if server is opened, the results will be different from what the full Chebukati announced? If you ask me, my position is clear. That this matter of the server did not start in 2022. So looking at the past, something is there sinister. For those who don't know, I want to revisit the question of server. I was just Googling. Server is a computer or a computer program which manages access to a centralized resource or service in a network. That's the definition of a server. You know, this thing has been explained in a manner that many people still don't grasp whether what is it. I agree that IBC is the body mandated, which is the custodian of our elections, to address the question of server. But aren't we all in agreement that they are quiet? The question of Sharia inasema, where is the law that says server should be opened, according to me, is a bit misplaced, and that's what I believe puts Chebukati on the spot. You know why? During the Supreme Court ruling session, there was a court order for the servers to be opened. And I remember by that time, the head of Azimio, IT side on Azimio, Njoroge, was coming out, was actually in Twitter saying that they had been denied access. And there was a statement of they've been denied server A or server B or server C. There was that discussion. Kindly subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell and like our video. Thank you for those who are watching this video. I want to revisit this question of the server because it's what touches on legitimacy. Ruto has decided to pick it amongst the other demands that Raila has put together. Of course, he's saying that's an impossibility. Now, Azimio team, and I want to tell you why this question is very sensitive on the side. Azimio team is relying largely on the Jose Carmago evidence that was speaking about an intrusion in that system. But secondly, that seems to have been what was there is also in conformity with the whistleblower report that allegedly were released by what Raila is saying was a result of ethical hacking and also an insider from within. And the reason why I am saying that President Ruto should really handle this with a lot of care is this. Take this to nearest bank and borrow a loan. The only way to have a rebuttal about please open the servers is just by opening it. I don't know why you get it. And I want to repeat. There is no rebuttal against open the servers apart from opening it. That's the only rebuttal. The discussion of going to the public and saying, it was opened by then. I think there are a lot of theories into it. But the only rebuttal that can counter Azimio la Umoja is it being opened. I don't know the legal framework that can be used. I don't have an idea. On whether someone does a petition or it has to go to a petition review or something. Or maybe IBC themselves trying to clear their name and just proving to the country what they had. That will be it. You must release something, even if you're going to print those results. IBC print results, okay, fine. This is what is in the portal. It's still in the portal. This is what we've released. You just print out what is from it and people see. And I don't know, to some extent, they must find a way. That is the only way of clearing the doubt on the server question. I've been seeing a lot of corners being taken. But this is very sensitive because, remember, we are all in this country. In 2017, there were theories about the server question. And part of the evidence, and one thing that Azimio, I think NASA cried out to even Maraga-led bench, was that the server was never opened. And literally, Maraga, many believe that he actually nullified that election simply because not that Raila had won, not that he had evidence that Raila had won, but he had evidence that something was being kept from the bench. Yes, that's it. And just on that ground, we were in the same position in 2022, but we had a different bench. And we got and there was a different outcome. However, I can tell you the question of let's access the server is a postponed problem. And those who are the new commissioners that are coming should actually think about taking a legislation to the National Assembly or even different stakeholders. Another stakeholder should actually go to court, or I think let's start in the National Assembly, so that we look at the Elections Acts that we have, even if we're going to review that one of 2011, we find out, we try to redefine the level of the principle of free, fair, verifiable election. That principle needs to be redefined, because moving forward, our election is going digital. And that is where there is a problem. That is where there is a problem. We are evolving, and according to Kriegler report, is that we should evolve. It should be our IT electoral system should be progressive. As it progresses, it comes up with other hiccups, one of which someone should help us understand. During election, IBC is the custodian, and let's just be reasonable. They have, part of the data they are carrying is the voters register. Let's just get it. The other thing they're having is the Form 34As and 434As, the way they're producing them. They have all those data they are holding belongs to the people of Kenya. Remember, it's a role, they're being funded by taxpayers' money. I want to be blind enough and accept to be blind enough, but I will need one day, maybe sometime, an explanation about the high secrecy of these servers. The high secrecy of what cannot be accessed. I want to believe that there are a lot of firewalls that have been created in the guise of protecting the integrity of the same election, while that protection firewall, to me, is also a barrier to verifiability principle of our election. But because we normally ask for open the servers even after elections. No, and I've always said open before. For example, now, if we are not going to have, we are cocksure we are not going to have a presidential election today, what stops you from just opening it? Let Kenyans see. Those who can get IT gurus can access and tell us, maybe come out and just do a printout and buy space in standard and say you want to clear your name, you want to end this discussion about the ABC and the other. Buy some page in Nation, we have the funds, print it there, say this is the process of removing it, this is the server it was where, this is what it was, this, and you just need to show people the process. From polling station, server, this was it. We had some 2 people operating where, and just show what has happened. Just show people the skeleton of what you're doing, then give up the results. Because, for example, you're not going to have an election. So the whole protection story, where does it come? I simply don't get it. I simply don't get it. The other thing is this. If IBC is quiet about the server question, then let Ruto also shut. That's it. Simple. Because the only people that are going to give you something, I know IBC is quiet because of strategic corporate discipline. They put we don't want to get involved in, and of course, it also doesn't have now a mouthpiece. If they speak now, they'll be told, do you have quorum? There are no commissioners, no secretariat working, and they also don't want to be criticized. With the high octane, they could also be vilified, but then in the same measure, let's just say it as it is. If IBC is quiet, let Ruto also just leave the matter. Address the other question. In fact, as much as you want to dodge the others, just the big question here is the cost of living. You're in Guinea. That one you can do. Still, we can have that discussion another time. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my point, and I believe that with Ruto picking up the server question, there is also something you can say, that the president is talking about where does the law say. It means there is something that I'll tell you in the next, something that Raila, that Ruto is using. It's a very lethal card against Raila. You have to look at that. That's probably tomorrow, yes.